This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Welcome to the Row 1 Seat 1 podcast. This is Ben, aka Boston Nuga. It is the happiest weekend of the year for me in independent wrestling. That's right, it is the weekend of the Scenic City Invitational here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, my home city. The weekend where 16 competitors plus the Scenic City Futures is taking place as well in Chattanooga. It is taking place on August 5th, 6th, and 7th. August 5th will be the TWE event on Thursday, August 5th. Thursday, August 6th will be night 1 of the Scenic City Invitational. Thursday, August 7th will be the Scenic City Futures with the future competitors. And then night 2 of the Scenic City Invitational. It is a fan convention. It is tons of fun. It is where you can find the stars of tomorrow, the stars of today. It is just the best weekend of the year, guys. It is so much fun. It is just such a fantastic time. We're having a hot dog eating contest. We're having a prom. We're having wrestling events. We're having karaoke. We're having more dinners and meals and stuff that we know what to do with. We're having fellowship and fun, and it's just going to be just the best damn time, guys. It really, really is. If you ever get a chance, come down to SCI. You are my personal guest. It's just really, really good time. It's a lot of fun. Those of you guys who are listening who have already come to SCI know what it's all about. Those of you who haven't come, you guys are welcome. You are so welcome to Scenic City Invitational. It is the best. It is my favorite week of the year for so many reasons. Just because of the friends and everyone's like family. You can celebrate your weirdness as a wrestling fan, and it's like WrestleMania weekend, but for independent wrestling. It's just so much fun. It's just so much fun. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. And it's in my damn hometown of Chattanooga. I'm just so blessed. But before we get started, I just want to talk about the Place to Be Nation Wrestling Network. Check out the store. Show off your favorite podcast logos on merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. Go to tpublic.com. Type in PTBW. On the network, Scott, Nate, and Steve return with the newest main event. Check out the big weekend wrestling with Slammiversary and Money in the Bank. Highway to the Impact Zone as Logan and the gang recapping 218 and 225 04 episodes of Impact. Ben Locke's Chicken Salad has shoot comments as he and his guests go to Bash of the Beach 2000. Gurney and Cook go to Extreme Resurrection as they go through 2006 WWECW. God, I missed that. On the Mothership, Place to Be Podcast 581. Scott and JR with JR Cindy D'Amato as they go to Indianapolis for WrestleMania 8. Rate, review, and subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Search Place to Be Nation Wrestling Network. Check out our Quadapods. The Pop Experience goes all about pop culture with TV, movies, comics, and trivia. Jennifer Smith is in the Jenny position. Take on pop culture and life. Join JT Rosero, Aaron George, and Chad Campbell on the North-South Connection feed with the histories of WETNA and great wrestling topics and takes. And Glenn and Scott Butler are continuing their journey through music, films, and more on the Non-Toxic Fanboys podcast. Go to nontoxicfanboys.com. Join the Place to Be Nation discussion group on Facebook. Go to Facebook, look up Place to Be, and request an invite. Our Stretch Project determines the greatest NWA WCW wrestler of all time. Go to facebook.com/GWCW and join the group. And check out PlaceToBeNation.com every day. We have new voices and fresh takes, bringing you articles on the worlds of wrestling, sports, and pop culture. If you're doing shopping on Amazon, be sure to click the banner on the right side of PlaceToBeNation.com's homepage, or click on PlaceToBeNation.com/Amazon. Takes you over to Amazon, helps us out with no cost to you. We are coming on now with Scott Hensley and Matt Griffin, the brain trust behind the Scenic City Invitational. Man, we're excited. We are just so excited for Scenic City Invitational this year. Hope you can share in some of that excitement. Check it out on IWTV. If you don't get a chance to come down to Chattanooga, you're going to get just a hell of a weekend, some great shows, a great time, and hope you enjoy the show. We are here live with the two brain trusts behind the Scenic City Invitational, my favorite weekend of the year, and hopefully yours. On the weekend coming up, the weekend of August 6th and 7th, the most joyous weekend of the year, I'm here with Scott Hensley and Matthew Griffin. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hey, Ben.
Thank you guys for coming on. This is, as I mentioned to you guys in the pre-show, the easiest show I do all year because it is the thing I am most passionate about in independent wrestling is the Scenic City Invitational. We have a stellar field this year, all thanks being to you two gentlemen who put it together, both in the Scenic City Invitational tournament itself and Scenic City Futures, which we will discuss. Talk a little bit about how far out the preparation begins for SCI, and kind of, does it begin after SCI, finishes, or, how does how far out do you start thinking about SCI, for the next year? I mean, obviously we didn't have SCI in 2020, but, how much of an undertaking is the Scenic City Invitational?
I'll go first, I guess. This year was unlike any other year for a variety of reasons. With what we do, we're typically in schools helping them raise money. We get a nice venue that has wide open space, and we're getting the community involved, and that just wasn't feasible this year because the school system has no idea what they can do. The county has no idea what they can do with their facilities due to COVID precautions. And, even now, if there's a scare for a day or two or a week or whatever, it would completely put us in limbo or jeopardy as to what we can do. So we don't know what we were going to do, but there was a really strong show at TWE back in probably, I want to say February, and I think Matt was up for that one. And after that, he said, hey, we got to have a call. And he said, I think we can do it there. And I said, I do too. I said, that was absolutely my thought. As well, when two people are thinking the exact same thing, then it's always really nice. And then, I started having some fans tell me, hey, I'm taking that weekend off. Like, I'm planning on coming to Scenic City. And it's like, okay, like, we haven't even announced it yet. Like, and then after Mania weekend, we just, we're back, and it has almost 100,000 views on Twitter. Just the engagement, the attendance that we felt from our fans. I'm sorry. Typically, preparation would come. We have sort of a list right after the event itself. We have a list of people that we would look to put in the next year, but as far as putting it together for this year, it really came in March. It was an all of a sudden type thing.
Yeah, this year was a little bit different, I take it, because we didn't have an SCI last year, and there was again, you guys are talking about TWE. TWE is the promotion. I've talked a little bit about this show. It's TWE is a promotion in Red Bank, Tennessee, that is gracious enough to be hosting the event. Talk about the partnership with TWE this year and how you guys have kind of worked with them a little bit and how they're going to be going hand in hand with you guys at Scenic City Invitational this year, because it's a little bit different than previous incarnations of the Scenic City Invitational.
Yeah, I'll lead off with that one, and I looked it up. It was after the March 27th TWE show, and I got talking with Dylan Hales, because Scott, you weren't at the show, if you recall.
Correct. Well, actually, I thought I was at one of those shows.
I think you were, but I had to call you and pitch you, and it was half me pitching you and half me talking to somebody to stay awake on the drive home.
Okay, maybe that, yeah, okay.
Because I remember sending you a message like, hey, can we have a chat? And it was about 2 weeks before Tampa, because we were like going to entertain the thought and kind of get our ducks in a row. I talked to Dylan Hales. He was pro it, and we, pro for it. And that's when I pitched you, and it was like, all right, I mean, because you have to, you're Scenic City. You have to make sure you're on board with everything, especially since with it not being in a school, it was going to be kind of a change. But, kind of put it together and then make a proposal to Jaden and Cheyenne Newman, who run TWE. And that came together it realistically came together in about 10 days before we announced it. And Ben, if you recall, I screenshotted your message after you were upset that I never told you.
There was someone you didn't tell. Yes, there was someone you didn't tell. And
we didn't tell. We had maybe 6 people who knew.
Yeah.
6. I will tell you that there's more than one wrestler I booked. And Scott booked a couple, but I'm just saying that said it to me that I booked that it's like, hey, here's some dates. Can you do them? Okay. I never said where, and I never said for what. I just had to have some dates. And a couple of them guessed. I was being coy, but a couple of them guessed, but I never outright said anything. But there was a wrestler, like the day we were announcing, I'm like, hey, it's going to be in Chattanooga area, and it's for SCI. And they were like, holy shit, SCI is a bucket list thing for me. I'm fired up. Because I, being a promoter who's got, another project with Action Wrestling, I just never had to let them know. So that was very rewarding to hear. And of course, I mean, I think it went about 3 minutes from the first tweet going out that I got my first inquiry from somebody wanting to be a part of it, who hadn't been yet.
Yeah, let's talk about the legacy of SCI for a second, because that's a very good segue about SCI being a bucket list thing, and SCI having a legacy, and SCI being something that people want to be booked on now. And that's a testament to you guys. That's a testament to previous people who have been on the booking committee. That's a testament to the wrestlers who have historically been in the Scenic City Invitational. Talk a little bit about the legacy of SCI. Talk a little bit about what you guys feel like is the legacy of SCI. What you guys feel like, if you feel at all like you have something to live up to. What do you think you're walking into as far as footsteps?
I guess I'll start with that one. Going back into 2015 when I started it with a buddy, we really would sit around and kind of fantasy book, like, who are some of the best guys in this area? Like, if you could get anybody for a show, like, within reason, like, who would you put together and what kind of matches and what kind of a presentation could we do that's different? What can we do that elevates the area talent, that brings together the Southeast, that gets attention? What can we do? And we decided it was a 2-night tournament. And it sort of piggybacked off of what IWA Mid-South has done with the Ted Petty Invitational, which is a 2-night tournament typically. So we decided to make it the Scenic City Invitational. And so he used some of his contacts. I reached out to some people, and we were able to put together something that was attractive to outside fans, and we were able to partner with Empire Wrestling and just really use a lot of their really talented area local guys and just come together to make something that meant something to a lot of people.
And, Ben, I really do. I actually tweeted about this earlier today. I really do think that my position in SCI, as somebody who basically worked their way in from the first show, I consider myself like a steward of almost like an existing sports franchise. Like you may own that particular team now and run this particular team now, but the Boston Red Sox have been in existence for over 100 years. I see myself in kind of that vein. Like, we want to make sure we live up to what's been done before. There are budget limitations that didn't exist in 2019. We are on a much more limited budget for, of course, reasons. Thankfully, their level of interest is there, so it looks like we're going to do pretty good. It's you never know before running any event. There's no guarantees ever. You can put wrestlers together. I never like to say that this is going to be great. I like to go ahead and under promise, over deliver anytime I run anything. But, as somebody who was there in August 2015, and SCI has literally got what got me back interested in wrestling. And without SCI, there's no action wrestling either. I consider it an honor and a responsibility. So this week has already been very nerve-wracking for me, just because of pressures that I always go through the week of a show.
Scott, you mentioned this is your baby. This has always been your baby since 2015. Do you, especially given that we didn't have Scenic City Invitational last year, have even more of a little bit of a chip on your shoulder this year to put on a great show?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's an emotional thing for me because, I think about how hard some of the area guys work and how so many guys feel like they're overlooked, and how this is such a big opportunity for so many people. And there's so many fans that talk about how, this is an escape for them. This is a big deal. They're proud of this event. And I've been able to really plug into a lot of people's passion and allow them to do more, and that includes Matt Griffin, and that includes Dylan Hales, and it includes Jaden Newman, who we sort of have added to the committee in a way and try to mentor. But it's all about growing and just making something bigger than ourselves.
I agree completely. This is like I said, it's my favorite week of the year, and I'm not barely even tangentially part of it. I'm so in awe of what you guys are able to do, and how you guys are able to put on an amazing event and show, a series of shows, and just what you guys are able to facilitate. And I'm just so thankful. I'm so happy for what it's become and how it's become a part of my life. And I'm just, one of many people who can say that. Let's kind of pivot a little bit to this year's events. Because I'm really impressed with the talent, especially given the current landscape of independent wrestling, that exists out there. What you guys, and realistically, given the budget you guys have as well, let's be realistic as well. But honestly, it doesn't feel like you guys had a budget, because you guys are really able to put together the veritable independent wrestling all-star team here in the Scenic City Invitational 2021, and there's, I think, more than maybe any tournament you guys have had to date, the deepest lineup and the deepest bench, I think, of any tournament, because there's not really anyone you can look at and say that guy doesn't have a chance. And there's 1 to 16, probably more than any other year. They're saying that guy could do it. And there's all A minus, B pluses, and there's no B minus C's on this lineup whatsoever. And I think that's tremendous given what you had to play with. How is the talent acquisition portion process? So not to ramble too much, but how was that process? How carefully constrained was it, given all the restrictions, given all the constraints? Because you guys did a hell of a job.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll handle that one, and I'll give credit to. First off, we were able to, and lucky enough to have several years of history and good business, and I consider it an honor that Scott asked me to join the SEI booking team. I officially came on basically the day after 2018, where I had a decision making ability. I was always kind of part of the team, but I wasn't a booker really. The day after 2018 ended, I got an official vote. But I'll give it up to the sponsors, because we were able to go ahead and get a lot of friends and a lot of companies that wanted to go ahead and extend their brand, and that's a big deal. In the last year and a half, when wrestling came back from the pandemic, that was very important, because you're dealing with very limited crowds. So when you can get support, whether it's just locally, or companies that websites or anything on Twitter, that's a real big deal. So that helped a lot. And then I'll give credit to the wrestlers themselves, because there were several wrestlers we contacted. They wanted to be a part of it, and they were basically willing to go ahead and accept kind of a downside guarantee. And if this doesn't do well, if we don't make a ton of money, they were willing to come in for less. And they are basically the ones who made it work. I've been running back with Action Wrestling since September 2020, and I've had a lot of wrestlers who, hey, I know I can't get what I normally get, but I'll come in for this because I'll help you out. I'll make sure it works. They get to continue wrestling. They get to continue being on IWTV. We've had several live streamed events with Action Wrestling, so they've kept their careers going. And basically trying to work as well as they can in the current climate. But it's nice when we have wrestlers who are, you have several years of history with SCI, with Action Wrestling, Jaden through TWE. We're very close with Southern Underground Pro in Nashville. So we have a very good reputation of taking care of wrestlers, putting them in situations to make them look good. So there's a lot of trust involved, and that's really why and how it's been able to happen. And thankfully, interest has been good. Ticket sales have been good. So, we're not really worried about that right now. Obviously, you always want to sell more tickets, and obviously we want to get a lot of eyes on IWTV, but really it's the fact we've got lots of friends in the business and lots of wrestlers who want to be a part of this that are making it happen for us.
Yeah, and Matt also, go ahead, Ben.
No, Scott,
okay.
go ahead,
Matt mentioned the fans that we have, and it is amazing how supportive our fans are and how the fan bases have sort of grown together amongst New South Wrestling and TWE and Southern Underground Pro and Action Wrestling, of how it's become this feeder system for our event once a year. Those organizations, and credit to Matt and everybody involved with those organizations, but they're out, busting their tails all year long to promote to promote their events and to promote their talent. And then we come in and sort of have an all-star game every year, and it's so much fun and it's so rewarding. I tell the story that, after an event, a wrestler actually came up to me, hugged me, and said, "Thank you for changing my life." He had texts from several big companies after competing in our event. And it doesn't always happen that way, but I know for certain that we have some really big eyes on our events. And there's a lot of guys that come through that would have made it without us. But I think we have definitely been a jumping point for a lot of talent to be seen for the first time, or to be established as this guy is really serious and can compete with the best in professional wrestling.
Yeah, I was kind of going to jump on that point. Like, Scott, you put out an interesting tweet the other day that, a huge percentage of the wrestlers in SCI are regularly plying their trade throughout the Southeast. And we're talking about guys like Cabana Mandan, Eric Royal, Adam Priest, AC Mack, Logan Cree, Alex Kane, Jaden Newman, Brett Eisen. These are guys who, you can see on a regular basis throughout the Southeast, and they're, mega superstars throughout the Southeast. And, here they are, they're superstars of their promotions in the Southeast, and now they're going to be, in that all-star game. They're going to be going up against each other. They're going to be, absolutely killing it, going up against each other, in this mega tournament. I think that's so cool. And they're going to be going up against, guys from, across the country and across the world, and we're talking about, Jeremy Wyatt from St. Louis. We're talking about, Dale McCabe from Canada. We're talking about Manders from Iowa, people from, this really is, a showcase.
Absolutely, yeah. I've had people in the past, I know I'm never going to make everyone happy, but I've had a lot of criticism locally as people say, well, you call it the Scenic City Invitational, but there's hardly anybody from the Scenic City in it. But I think that's been an evolution of what we've become. We are an event that occurs in the scenic city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, but at the same time, we encompass the entire southeastern wrestling scene, and we want to grow and be seen by the entire scene and beyond that. And that doesn't just happen with only guys from Chattanooga. And I definitely want guys from Chattanooga to feel encouraged or to feel like they have a chance. And, I've had wrestlers say, well, you guys don't give any wrestlers a chance to even get their foot in the door. And I think that's one of the reasons why we created the Futures Showcase Tournament, which Matt took over as the Action Futures Showcase Tournament. That's an event for guys with 5 or less years experience. And it's a tournament showcase for them. And we've had just some amazing results with that, of just hungry, passionate guys from this area and beyond that have been able to get their foot in the door there.
Yeah, let's pivot to the Future Showcase, because I'm really excited about that. That's going to be on Saturday afternoon of the Scenic City Invitational weekend. Some people that are very well known in the scene just happen to have 5 or less years of experience. Billy Starks, Hoodfoot, Ron Bass Jr., who's been on this show, Chase Holiday, Robert Martyr, who just had a great showing in Action Wrestling. Eli Knight, Whisper, Landon Hale, some really, people who've been really cutting out there on the scene, and now they get to showcase on a big scene as well. this is a really cool opportunity for some younger wrestlers as well. And then, it's something also for, as you mentioned, local wrestlers and younger wrestlers as well to aspire to.
Yeah, it's been something that we've. Matt, am I talking over you?
No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. It's been something that has been really successful in allowing guys to come in and get their first taste of, being among really talented and motivated individuals. One of the things that I always tell people is it doesn't matter how talented somebody is if they're not motivated to go anywhere, or if they're not motivated to do good business with promoters. And so part of what we do is we tell them, we're putting our stamp on you, but we also want you to be a flag bearer for us. We're not making anybody, but we are giving a platform, and we do want to grow our brand while growing the opportunities for other wrestlers as well. But I'll transfer that to not just wrestlers, but to other people that we've been involved with, or like staff people even, like Matt who ran camera, or, we had Jeffrey Taylor fill in as a ring announcer for Futures, and we've got Carmen Childers this year. It's an opportunity for everybody to just get an extra chance and an extra sort of leg up into our world, and to see who really wants to be involved.
And Matt, a lot of these Futures people end up getting booked on Scenic City in later years.
Yes, I mean, we are pretty determined to make this whole thing a pipeline and really make it pay off. And, things can change in the business. We have to obviously see that talent is still developing and still growing, still getting better. We're interested in those who want to make this a career and are trying to make it to another level and travel around. So, there's, we ideally would have Futures as a feeder system to SCI, as a feeder system to our other kind of family of promotions. But I'll also say that, booking is hard. As a promoter and a booker, everybody hates you. I mean, you can get dunked on Twitter daily. You can get, subtweeted all the time because you make a decision that another wrestler doesn't like. And that's tough. The hardest part is saying no. For Futures last year, I won't mention who, but there was a talent who came up and, and asked something, and I had to say no. And it was a talent that I like very much and respect. And I had to say no because it wasn't the right time. And that's tough. But, we also have been lucky that we all in our circle do business the right way. We try to keep as drama-free locker rooms as possible, and we keep it business so that everybody can have a good time with what they're doing. I don't know. We want people who want to be a part of what we're doing, and with whether it's SCI or one of our other promotions, we don't just want talent who wants to come in and get an envelope.
Makes all the sense in the world. So let's break down some of these matchups here. I'll let Scott, since you founded it, I'll let you pick 3, and then I'll let Matt pick 3, and then I'll take the last 2. How does that sound?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I am taking Daniel Garcia versus Graham Bell. It is 2 guys that are going to absolutely beat the snot out of each other. Daniel Garcia may be the best wrestler in the world. He's 21, 22 years old, something like that. Probably headed for a contract somewhere. But he is going to wrestle Graham Bell, who may be the guy in the tournament that has the most to prove. But I think that gives him an advantage because he's very familiar with TWE. He is a guy that has actually wrestled in 4 different countries in the last couple of years. So he's sort of under the radar. So I'm so excited about that match because it's going to be so hard hitting. In the past, Anthony Henry was always a huge part of our events. And it's because he always brought it. And I think that's going to be like the Anthony Henry match right there. Secondly, I'm going to take Jeremy Wyatt versus Cabana Man Dan. Cabana Man Dan was like one of the first independent wrestlers that like I actually loved. He was a part of a group called Full Throttle Wrestling in Elkmont, Alabama, in the, I guess, early 2000s to mid 2000s. And they sort of did like the IWA Mid-South style. They had cruiserweights. They had like the X Division type stuff. They had hardcore stuff with, glass and just craziness, but such variety. And they would bring in guys like Chris Hero and Sterling James Keenan, who's Corey Graves. But then they would also mix in like local guys like James Storm and just solid guys that were really exciting. They brought in Samoa Joe, who Cabana Man Dan actually wrestled against. So
Wait, what?
I love, yeah, that's true. But Cabana Man Dan is one of the godfathers of Southeastern independent wrestling as we know it. People do not realize just how awesome and amazing he is and how his career has spanned. And he is one of the most likable guys in the ring and outside of the ring that you could ever meet. Some guys are one or the other. He is absolutely both. And then you've got a guy like Jeremy Wyatt, who, Jeremy Wyatt is not afraid to be hated. He's not afraid to speak his mind. And he gets in there and backs up every word he says. He is a vicious technician in the ring, and he and Cabana Man Dan are going to absolutely throw down. And I have no idea what's going to happen as far as who's going to make who tap or pin or how that is going to end up there because they're both so experienced. Thirdly, I will take Brett Eisen versus Jaden Newman. That is a personal match. That is a match where 2 guys are competing to really represent the area. They are familiar with each other. They respect each other. They've trained together at Kerry Awful's Crux Wrestling in Middle Tennessee. And, Brett is he's I would call him like an athletic brawler. He's going to be a kick punch guy, but it's all going to hurt really like a lot. Like everything he does is going to hurt a ton. He's not in there throwing anything weak. But he's also going to be the guy that runs and hits you with a big boot in the corner. He has agility. And then you've got Jaden who, he obviously is TWE's favorite son. He has a piece of the ownership there at TWE, but he's not this guy that's just happy with that. He's a guy that wants more, and he's traveling to places like Minneapolis, Minnesota. He traveled out to Texas. He was just in Charlotte, North Carolina. I think he's been up in the Northeast some, but he's hungry, and they are going to murder each other as well. There's 2 kinds of matches that sort of murder each other, and that's guys that really respect each other, or guys that really don't respect each other. And so it's polarizing. Either one is going to result in a really smash-mouthed match, and I think there's a lot of respect that goes around there. And then fourthly, I will take. Wait, was I supposed to just do?
You each pick 4. Each pick 4. That's fine. I don't need to pick any. That's fine. You guys should be the ones talking. No, pick 4. Pick 4.
All right. Fourth, I will pick Eric Royal versus Derek Neal. That's a match that is so exciting because they're so similar in so many ways. I mentioned Jeremy Wyatt isn't afraid to be hated. Eric Royal and Derek Neal absolutely embody that. In an age where everybody's afraid of offending people and everybody wants to be liked and everybody wants to sell their merchandise and be friendly with everybody, Derek Neal and Eric Royal are not that. They are all into themselves when they come out, and it's their world every time they come to the ring, both of them. So I think it's a really, really unique match that's going to play with the crowd's emotions, because I think they will definitely get cheers out of the crowd, but I think the crowd will have to decide which one they hate more and which one they hate less. So I'm really excited about that. And not just their personalities either. They're both so deceptively athletic. They're both bigger body guys that just randomly do things that it's like, wow, like how can an opponent, how could someone even prepare for that to happen because of the way they look or because of the way they act at times? So that's my 4.
Matt, you got 4 left.
Oh man. I am terrible at match previews. Yes. Well, I'm happy with this field because go for it.
All right, Logan Creed, John Davis.
John Davis is somebody that I had wanted to work with for a long time. He was actually scheduled on a March 2020 show for Action Wrestling versus O'Shea Edwards, and we were really excited for that, and then COVID shut us down, I think 9 days before that show was supposed to happen. Fast forward over a year later, we were able to do John Davis versus O'Shea Edwards at our Tampa WrestleMania weekend show, Have Fun, Be Sad. Really enjoyed the match, really enjoyed John Davis as a person, getting to know him and talk to him a little bit. So he was definitely somebody who jumped on the SCI list. And Logan Creed is somebody since we came back from the pandemic. He started with Action in November at our Tyrone shows. He had actually wrestled on the SCI Futures event last October as well, actually against O'Shea. And he's been on a bit of a win streak in Tyrone. He's never been pinned. Tyrone is our home base. And he got and became popular very organically. His first 5 or 6 months in, he wrestled and won. We did no angles. We did nothing but play music, let him have a match, and he got very over very quickly. And he's somebody who he would stress he wanted to be a part of SCI in the field of 16. He's worked hard. He's got an MLW contract.
He's legitimately
he's been a
6'8".
traveled guy. He is big. He is very tall. I prefer to talk to him when he's sitting down because then I don't have to just look at his stomach when I talk to him.
This guy's huge. He's a legit 6'8". He's humongous. John Davis is legit human refrigerator. He's also humongous. This is going to be a match of 2 humongous guys beating the absolute crap out of each other. AC Mack and Big B.
Oh my gosh, Big Beef is somebody. He has. Beef. We like Beef. He had a really good kind of a style contrast match at, I think it was the Tank Throwdown show that was in October 2019. I believe he wrestled Ben Carter. Yes. And if you just look at the two and guess what their styles would be, you would not necessarily think that they would mesh well for a match, and they did. Beef obviously can brawl, looks like a brawler, is a brawler, but but that's not his only dimension to his game. So he's somebody who can wrestle with different talent and different styles. AC Mack, of course, he was basically he was the 15th guy last year. He was the last man standing. Before Daniel Makabe tapped him out actually to win SCI in 2019. At the time, he was Action Champion. He was the Action Wrestling Champion for over 2 years. And he held that belt and carried the torch as our inaugural champion. And he's been an established guy in the South. He's known in the TWE arena. He's been their champion. He's known in Nashville. He was the SUP champion. So he carries a big pedigree in as well. So that's going to be fun. That's definitely going to be a bit of a style contrast, but both of them, in coming up with entertaining matches, have done well in style contrast matches.
Alex Kane and Manders.
So, dear God, Manders was the 2019 Futures champion.
Former Iowa Hawkeye football player.
Legitimate. Gosh, I still call it Division 1A because I'm old and set in my ways. I don't call it the FCS or FBS or whatever it's called.
Man played the Rose Bowl.
Yes. Yes, he's been he is one of those, road warriors out there who will drive halfway across the country. I've literally seen him show up to places he wasn't booked so that he could, talk to people and just be around. That helped him too. Showing face. I can tell you that there's numerous talents who email me every 2 months and I've never met. They send messages asking about booking and I've never met. Manders, I met him in 2019 and, just a few months later, he was in Futures and won it. Alex Kane is somebody who I was introduced to in 2020. Scott Hensley became familiar with him at a little promotion in Alabama, wanted to use him for Futures. He had a real nice showing. He started in Action Wrestling a month later, and it's been off to the races for him. He's been going to Paradigm. He was a part of Southern Underground Pro's set of tapings earlier this year. He debuted in MLW as an MLW contracted star at their Battle Riot TV tapings. And he got over there because he will suplex the crap out of anybody. He's not afraid to suplex somebody outside the ring into a ring post. He'll suplex them off the top rope, going with them. And, he's a very methodical suplexer too. He's a power guy.
He's wonderful.
Oh my, that's a very apt description.
Baby Kurt
and Kane.
Yeah.
And Kane has wrestled several other of the guys that are in this tournament. He's wrestled Logan Creed. He's wrestled Graham Bell. So Kane and Manders, there's a lot of meat in that ring. There's a lot of meat who like to clothesline and people. And you have to understand, everybody is coming in trying to peak, trying to be at their peak. They know that these shows are streaming on IWTV.live. They want, all 16 want to be here. This is not the type of booking that, and I give credit to them for, to the wrestlers for wanting to be, to bring their best, but this is the type of place that they want to be. So we're going to get, I think we're going to get everybody A games here.
One more. Daniel McCabe, Adam Priest, the defending champ.
Oh my. McCabe is the 2019 SCI champion. Adam Priest earlier this year won the Haas tournament. He got the orange jacket in New South. And former winners include Cabana Man Dan and Derek Neal as well. So both have won tournaments. Daniel McCabe is my personal favorite wrestler, and he knows that. Adam Priest, Well, Adam Priest and I have a little bit less of a friendly relationship. He once slapped me in the TW arena, as you may recall. I cannot deny his talent. And Adam Priest has a huge weekend. He could win SCI, and then Sunday morning he's flying for the IWTV 100, and he's wrestling Jonathan Gresham.
That's right.
So Adam Priest is set for, I mean, we have some talent that is set for potentially huge weekends. And, you know, Daniel Garcia, he could potentially win SCI, and then he's going to IWTV 100, and he's getting that 100th title defense. He's going to wrestle Wheeler Yuta and challenge for the belt. So, this card up and down, I'm so fired up about. But Makabe and Priest are both those ring technicians. Both of them have little wasted movement in the ring. If you notice that they both have a very economy workman-like wrestling style. There's not a lot of wasted movement. There's not a lot of motions that go, there's not necessarily a lot of theatrics. You can watch Daniel Makabe's series. He's wrestled Jonathan Gresham before. He's had a series with Timothy Thatcher, B-Boy. And you can see a lot of Adam Priest's battles as well. Adam Priest was featured earlier this year on AEW Dark. He beat Matt Mikowski with a broken arm. So, I hate to go ahead and put labels on things like that, but this is going to be like that Matt Classic type of match.
And it's interesting you kind of mentioned, actually, like, kind of brought up, like, AEW Dark and stuff like that. And, this is really the showcase of where you see tomorrow's stars. And I think this is something we need to stress. A lot of guys, Anthony Henry, Matt Riddle, Chris Hero, a lot of guys have gone. This is the AAA. This is the launching point. This is really where guys jump off to the major leagues. If you're kind of new to independent wrestling, this is where you dip your toe. Is the Scenic City Invitational, is in my opinion, because this is really where you're going to see the best of the best of independent wrestling, and this is really, if you're looking to go find, who's going to be that next star, start with the Scenic City Invitational. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean that's
a good.
That's our goal, and I mean that's a huge compliment. But yeah, I mean it's something that we really feel strongly about, and it's also something that as we've talked about, you notice we've talked about New South, we've talked about some of these other events like Action and TWE, and we wanted to create this pipeline. We wanted to create a system, and guys have bought into that, and it's brought new talent into the area or kept some talent in the area that might go other places if they knew that there wasn't something to strive for in the Southeast. I think Graham Bell is the ultimate example of somebody that has put in the work. He's good enough. He is an extremely talented wrestler, but he's been just all over the place, and he lives, I don't think he would mind me saying where he lives now, but I think he's actually living in Oklahoma now, but he was living it was either Kansas or Missouri. But I saw him at a TWE event, and he said, it's just great to have a place to call home. And I said, aren't you like 7 or 8 hours from your actual home? And he said, yeah. He said, but I'm all in here. And he absolutely is. He bought into the system of, if you wrestle in this area, if you can wrestle with the top guys in this area and become a top guy, then like we've talked about, you get to be in the All-Star game. And, there's a lot of really talented guys at certain shows that either have no motivation to go anywhere, or they're kind of weird to work with, So it really is a big stamp of approval for us to book somebody in Scenic City, and we do have all these different promoters coming together to, I guess, try to put a field together in a way. I mean, Dylan Hells is not actively involved on the booking team, but he's definitely somebody we consult with, and he's involved with Southern Underground Pro and TWE. And then we have Matt, of course, with Action. I do Scenic City. Jaden does TWE. And then we talked about having the 3 Hoss tournament winners from New South in our tournament as well. So it's something where we want to elevate the entire area, not just Chattanooga.
All right, let's talk about some fun stuff. Kind of my area expertise a little bit here. XCI weekend is also a big fan convention, and historically has been, and has always just kind of been this melting pot of weird fans kind of getting together once a year, celebrating their weirdness around this wonderful thing called professional wrestling that we all celebrate and love, and just kind of gather in the wonderful city of Chattanooga once a year and celebrating our weirdness. And I'm just very blessed to have it in our fair city, and we kind of do some fun stuff around it this year, and or every year really. And this year we're going to be doing some activities as well. I am very happy to say that today I ordered a very special thing for the hot dog eating contest that I'm going to be unveiling. Yes, we are doing a hot dog eating contest, and I will be unveiling that. But both Matt and I will be participating in the Scenic City Invitational hot dog eating contest. It is a race to 6 because it is the 6th hot dog eating contest. It is the 6th Scenic City Invitational, not the 6th hot dog eating contest. Dear God, could you imagine? So we will be doing that. We will also be doing a prom. Just a lot of togetherness and fans getting together and, you know, hanging out with each other. People coming from all over the country just to really enjoy each other. You guys talk a little bit about the intangible of what it's become among the fans, because I think it's really become a movement, in my opinion.
Well, first off, I will be having my promo tomorrow for the SCI hot dog eating contest. So I will have a promo, and I will take this as seriously as I can possibly make it. But yeah, it's cool because, you know, the cool thing about hub events where a lot of people stay in the same area is that there's other gatherings besides just the show, and it can become a social. It can become kind of a social thing. I've made a lot of friends from this weekend, including you, Ben. You know, it's duly noted. But it's a lot of fun, and you can just enjoy being around people who are into the same thing as you. And wrestling is, you know, it's not, you're not, you know, a lot of times wrestling fans are isolated. They don't have somebody that they'll go to shows with or watch shows with in their general area. So it's very cool and rewarding to see people be able to congregate and get to know each other. And even, you know, we have people from over 20 states who are going to be coming to the shows this weekend. So, you know, that's great. And, you know, for the wrestlers, they get to be seen by people in other areas. So, you know, hopefully when they go back to their home independent promotions, it's like, hey, I'd like to see that wrestler I saw live at SCI. And that leads to hopefully wrestlers being able to get around to get more bookings out of it. So it's just a fun weekend, and I'm already driving myself crazy with anticipation, just trying to have all sorts of touches right. I'm stressing myself over things that Scott has not asked me to do, but I want to because I want it to be as good a weekend as possible.
Yeah,
Scott,
and
the beginning, yeah.
I was going to say, piggybacking off of Matt's response there, I think we do want the expert fan from every area to come and watch the show. I think that started with Dylan Hales coming in 2015. He told me he saw Congo Kong on the poster, and he thought, well, that's a different guy for the area, and, that's an established guy. Congo Kong was fresh off of having just a killer match with Chris Hero, and he's a guy that went on to have some success at Impact Wrestling. But I think all credit goes to Papa Hells and Dylan and yourself, Ben, and, now coming alongside you guys, the Bald Monkeys. And, I think it is this big family that just wants to have fun and just wants to just all have the same thing happen, and that's just people come together and enjoy professional wrestling, and to see these guys, hopefully make a lot of money and become really successful one day.
It's idyllic is the only word I could use to describe it. For one weekend of the year, it's this wonderful little place where we all just get along and have this wonderful thing in common, and it's just a really great thing, and we're just very thankful that we have it. On behalf of the fans, we're just very, very thankful that it's there, and for personal reasons on my behalf, and for reasons that that everybody has, we're just very, very thankful. So. Let me cut to some reader questions here, because I solicited for questions.
These are very mentally challenging and enriching questions.
They are. Josh Allen is asking, why do these men adhere to the sin that is the Eastern Time Zone?
I'll let Scott handle that one, because as an atheist, I believe in sin.
Scott is a God-fearing man. So.
I am. Yeah. We do adhere to the Eastern Time Zone. That is where we are located. Chattanooga is just across the Central Time Zone line, though. If you drive it's probably a 20-minute drive out of downtown, and maybe not even that, then you can be in Central Time. But yeah, we are Eastern Time.
That is a good reminder. When can you find on IndependentWrestling.tv the Scenic City Invitational to be airing, gentlemen?
Boom. That was a good transition, yeah. It's going to be 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday night and Saturday night, and 2 p.m. Eastern Time for the Action Scenic City Futures Tournament.
So that would be 1:30 Central on Saturday for the Scenic City Futures Tournament, and 6:30 Central on Friday and Saturday Central Time, where the people do not live, for the Scenic City Invitational Tournament. I think we're good with these questions here, actually. These are terrible. These are absolutely terrible. These are positively brutal. Ken Wallace, these are brutal. No, gentlemen, I just want to thank you so much. We are really looking forward to the weekend. You can find, if you are not lucky enough to be traveling to the wonderful city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, again, IndependentWrestling.tv, which you should be a subscriber to, because you can find wonderful content from such promotions as Action Wrestling, Southern Underground Pro. Did I mention Action Wrestling? New South Wrestling. Did I mention Action Wrestling? TWE. Did I mention Action Wrestling? Matt, did I do good?
You did great. And that's Action Wrestling that is available on the award-winning IWTV.live network.
And you can find the Scenic City Invitational on IWTV.live. 7:30 Friday night. This will be going up on Wednesday, so you'll be able to find it on Friday night, August 6th and 7th. The Scenic City Futures Tournament will be going up 2 o'clock.
Yes.
2:00 p.m. on the 7th. You can catch it all live or on demand on .live. Just look up IWTV. It's very easy to find. Gentlemen, any final words?
Go ahead, Matt.
No.
Okay. Then I'll go.
Did you plug the? Did we plug the
Twitter? Plug the Twitter.
Yeah. Yes, you can follow me personally at Matt the Mouth on Twitter. You can follow SCI at SCI Tournament on Twitter.
Yes, and I am Scott C. Hensley on Twitter. And I just really want to express gratitude to Ben for having us on and for all the fans that take time out of their schedules to come see us at the Scenic City, and for all the really talented wrestlers that could take a booking anywhere else to block off their schedule and be willing to come and support our event by being in it. We hope it's mutually beneficial for everybody. We're so proud to have a family-friendly destination event for independent wrestling, and we look forward to this year and hopefully many more.
Gentlemen, thank you. You are both family to me, and this is, again, my favorite weekend of the year, and I'm just thankful to both of you for facilitating it. We will be on with the ad read in a minute, but once again, thank you. And again, please give of yourselves to watch the Scenic City Invitational.